Just okay. So who wants to recap a bit what happened last time?
Well, last session started with Daniel and his nephew Scott having a meeting with a member of House. Getting ready to have a meeting with a member of House Hades, which they were essentially told. First, they were told that there was a smuggle in evidence, smuggle a body out before being told and shown that actually this is more or less a Talaxu job. And the Talaxu need this body taken out. They need evidence planted because some of their agents have fucked up and got caught and killed. Importantly, they would also, if we could, kill the target, offering a bonus if we could do that. For assistance, we were given the services of a Talaxu face dancer named Havelock. And after some discussions, us and also being given the dossiers, the group decided for the smuggling part of the job, Daniel will just hire a crew he trusts. They'll handle that. The real job is killing this guy, this noble lord. Daniel's able to pull strings, get people to work on it. Is able to replicate, get a poison replicated that was used by the house that they were going to frame for the job. And then Havelock is able to get in, kill and replace the man who's going to be operating the poison snooper. Is able to, despite seemingly the universe itself turning against him, is able to get the job done without arousing too much suspicion. Scott is assisting with that, advising both his uncle and Havelock during this process. Havelock, unfortunately, dies the poison, but he's a Talaxu, so I mean, death is not the end of his service. To which we're told, "Great job, you will be sponsored. We will not be paying you your bonus."
I mean, you did get their assassin killed, though.
You know, someone might say that he was improper. If he was trained better, he wouldn't have gotten killed.
That's
But
true.
not Daniel. Not Daniel, though.
Nope. Scott would absolutely say that, but not
Daniel took it in stride,
So
and
they took your bonus, they recreated him, and they sent him back as a gift. It's a capable agent.
yep. That's, you know what? That's a nice light fiction, and we're gonna hold to it in the interest of keeping this relationship functional.
Oh god, they're such assholes. I hate them.
Uh,
But yeah,
There's
all in
there's use,
all,
there's use in a relationship with them, so Daniel's willing to play along with the fiction.
yeah, all in all, it was a successful job. More than successful. You did actually impress them. And yeah,
And we did meet with our, I think he's basically like our liege lord, right? Essentially,
yes,
the
yep.
guy we're under. Basically, we got quested and got a document detailing the local political scene from him. And he more or less think he stated that there is a house that we could enter into a business relationship with because we can provide a service that they're in need of. And after that, basically found out he's really interested in us, but in like kind of like the way you're interested in like seeing how a science experiment plans out, which does not sit well with Daniel at all.
I mean, yeah, well, they're the weird ones, so
Daniel would prefer just being looked down upon, despised, than that.
no, he doesn't look down upon people. He treats them with the respect they deserve. Um.
respect. We're respectable.
So yeah. Um. And think we'll bring back things as well. You did spend some time, both of you, I would assume, looking over the documents provided to just get a better understanding of the political scene. Luckily for you, there's also a newspaper that would have reported on some, like, the tragic death of Lord Theos Orpheus. But, well, fortunately for the authorities, they did catch the man responsible. There was a swift investigation, as House Draco, the major house ruling this planet, has found the culprit. And because of, well, the shameful way this assassination was conducted, as there was no real, like, declaration of war, there was no sort of warning. It was kind of out of the blue. No feud was known. It was pretty much a by the book assassination, while also disregarding all the etiquette of the Khanli. Well, the brother of the assassinated declared a trial by combat against the accused, and because he is a swordsman of Guinness, he promptly executed the victim, or rather the perpetrator, swiftly, in front of literally all the planet's nobility. So nobody really suspects your involvement at all. There are news outlets that speculate that this might have been a major plot between some of the great houses. People blame, there's like a couple of people that are blaming House Hala and saying that their assassins are involved due to the poisoning, and some of the rumor mills that have started to be churned. At this point, Daniel, for you at the least, should be clear that there are people behind this that do enjoy spreading misinformation and just confusing everyone. Luckily for you, this also hides your involvement completely. As you study those documents, you learn a bit more about the minor houses that run this planet. There's some that deal with more of the artistic scene, but there are also those that deal with the training and contracting of assassins. There are those that work in weapons manufacturing, agriculture, fishing, mining, genetic engineering, all sorts of fields. This planet has a very, well, lucrative economy and a lot of untapped potential from maybe someone of your talents and skills. Of course, you've been able to have some time, some weeks at your disposal to study the domain you've been handed, the city of Heraklion, which, while to someone maybe less trained and less experienced, it just looks like a, well, decrepit town, a fallen city, shadow of its former self. Abandoned factories and districts that have fallen into disrepair and dot the landscape, as the mines have been long been exhausted, and, well, there's no real skilled labor in this town. And, well, combine that with the lack of investments, it was a disaster just waiting to happen. But luckily for the few residents of the city, when it was built as a station on the transit system that powers much of the, well, planetary transport, especially when it comes to raw materials and, well, transport for those less wealthy that cannot just afford private shuttles. So it managed to kind of just move along, barely holding on. which again may provide plenty of opportunities for you. Up north, just a station away, lies the city of Arsh, which houses the planetary spaceport on a large island just off the main continent. And of course, a lot of the goods that flow in and out will pass through your city as well. Another important connection off to the east is the city of Yorith, which is, well, some would argue the most important city on the planet. But at the very least, it is central to pretty much everything and a hub of negotiation and deal making. Also, the place where you committed the job. So you know that plenty of deals are made there. And of course, up north lies the city of Cyrak, which is owned by the minor house, kind of like overruling your own. Which again means that all transportation that has to go to Cyrak has to inevitably pass through your city as well. So make with that as you will. You have managed to bring in your good old friend, Mr. Dennis. Also assist with future house problems. He is at your disposal to command and, well, give him whatever jobs. He is as competent as you remember him to be.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
So as we cut into this scene where Daniel, you're sitting in sort of an office area, the window open, just kind of like the air, well, not the most clean one, but there's like a cold, like a chilly breeze that blows through the window. What is your thought process at this point?
Daniel's thought process is a pretty simple one. Heraclion is prime real estate for his type of business. With how many places have to send their goods through this place, it could very easily become the nexus of the criminal underworld on the city if it is properly guided and utilized.
Yes. Would you have a meeting with Scott to maybe put some details down, maybe with Dennis as well?
Oh, yes, of course.
So say that as you've called them in, Scott, you would arrive first as you enter Daniel's office. The wind current intensifying as you open the door.
My lord, you summoned me?
Yes, sit down, boy. Dennis?
He would probably be shortly after Scott arrive as well, as he will greet you both, smiling, polite bow.
Right. Summoned the both of you today because we finished our setup. It's time to actually get started on our work. Daniel will have a map of the region, including especially of the trade network. Our city here sits at the nexus of several vital areas. It's the only reason this city still exists. Shouldn't have to explain to you that, well, maybe to one of you I do. So he looks at Scott. This is properly utilized. This is a smuggler's nexus waiting to be founded, waiting to be exploited. Dennis, I want you to see if you can arrange any meetings with the local element of the planet.
He nods. Says,
If there's any that work with my father, all the better.
this planet has not that many workers due to its well, poor economy up until now, but like things are turning up, things are turning around for them, so it should be easy to convince more talented people to join us here.
That's what I like to hear. And with the noble house's emblem, business is going to be easier than it was for them before.
I do must warn you that the house in charge of the planet, they are not to be trifled with. As far as I can glean from their past activities, are you at all familiar? Have you managed to do a bit of research on them?
Is he referring to House Draco?
Yes.
A bit of research, yes. Outside of my expertise, but our sponsor provided us some useful information.
Well, they were even greater before well, my time, at the very least. They have fallen into shame and disrepair until the current ruler back in his youth, well, started to turn things around. Innovative new ideas. You know how it is when you stop playing by the rules and just obtain results. But right now,
So he realized winning the game was better than hearing nice.
he realized that war is not profitable. Providing a much smaller but highly trained fighting force is, though. Bodyguards, assassins. Started realizing fighting smart, not hard, wins you in the end. But that's not nor here nor there. The reason why he is a curiosity amongst the major houses of this sector is his sort of lack of political aptitude. At the very least, that's how it seems on the outside. He has a son, yet no betrothal. He has long past the age of most nobles would marry off their offspring for political alliances. So well, people gossip. People view this as odd, as interesting, weird, maybe a weak point, maybe a strong point, depending on your perspective.
Interesting.
So I would say, at the very least, be careful. He has quashed down revolts before. He has a trained regiment They call themselves the White Serpents. Elite warriors better than your average house guards. I wouldn't want his ire to turn on us because this city has become a hive of, well, entrepreneurs.
All right. I'll have to play it a little differently then.
We have to be cautious and invisible.
If I can make a suggestion, if I were so bold, we focus on legitimized business and let stuff slip through the cracks till, like, it's clear that it's there in air quotes, slip through the cracks, and they just have to pay us tribute for the use of our ports and and helping them get their goods from one end to the other under the guise of legalized business. Like, so when they come and look back at us, it looks like legitimate cargo.
Let others take the risks for us. We get the reward. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah. All we're doing is turning a blind eye, and they're paying us for the privilege at the moment. All they should have to do is make a fake certification that it's for legalized cargo, which has been done many, many times. If that's not the way to do it, you're more experienced in these matters than myself.
Well, no, to be honest, I think I like it. We can't risk sullying our reputation before we've even started. Be slower going, but it pays off. We'll have a stronger base to act on later.
Dennis just kind of like looks at you, Scott smiles and says, "You had a good head on your shoulders. Make you go a long way."
He'll not smile and nod in appreciation. My lord, there is one small thing I would like to try to do. It would cost you nothing. It might get us some reputation with the common folk, if you're willing to hear me out.
Do you have a pet project? Speak. May indulge it.
When the next grain shipment comes in, I think we should distribute it amongst the people. We ourselves. Showing ourselves to be in the common people's best interest. We're not abject lords in the sky. We are on the ground there to help. Maybe even hire some locals to be staffs. Or maybe on hard times, what you said, don't bribe them outright, give them a lifeline.
Good to see you have actually been listening a bit. We'll have to vet them carefully, but I like the initiative. In fact, this is your idea, boy. You take the lead on it. You are the Lord's young, honorable son, here to show the people that their uplifters have arrived.
Thank you, my lord. He'll turn to the spy master and say, do you see any security problems with this approach?
I can handle any troublemakers that might appear. More worried about the coffers being already dry as it is.
If we can, my lord, maybe send maybe make our presence known and send out letters to the local houses, just making our presence known and a sign of friendship.
Our patron, or liege, did say that there is another house under him that could use our services. Would be a. I think we should get in contact with them sooner rather than later.
I can write up a document right away and have you notarize and send it, if that is what you wish.
Ah. You see, Daniel is actually going to look at you. We will write the document.
Yes, my lord. I got a character. That wasn't anything suspicious. That was just like Scott's educated, and he figured he would appreciate the extra the flair that would come with the language.
Oh no, I get it. The problem is Daniel's also a paranoid guy,
Fair enough.
trying to shut him out of his duties.
That's why he was like, you can read over it, notarize it, and then send it yourself. But yeah, I can understand why that would be. The way Daniel got the power, I can understand why that would be problematic.
All right. Up the list, we have diplomatic inroads to make with our fellow houses, smugglers, criminals to get in contact with, entrepreneurs, free traders. We'll make honest men out of them. And finally, once we actually get income, once we actually get our base established, the boys' vanity project does have some merit.
Shall I get ready on distributing food to the locals and ensure that, well, things don't get disrupted?
Yes, get started with that.
If my lord doesn't have a problem, I would like to come and do it personally with you.
No honorifics with me. In fact, if you wish to, I am more than happy to assist you.
He'll look back at Daniels for like a nod or some type of approval.
You can see there's no nod or anything, but the way Daniel just makes a swipe to get a paper, which is an indication of his way of silently saying, "Go do it well."
He'll bow and make his way towards the door.
Yeah, Dennis would also do the same, bows and takes his leave.
Have I met Dennis, or is this like just an individual from your past, Daniel?
You probably would have met him, but it's pretty clear that he works more loosely with Daniel than
Yeah.
in his direct crew.
Okay.
You would know that he is basically one of the few people who has your uncle's genuine trust.
All right. Once I walk out, I'll be like, Dennis, thanks for your assistance and coming with me on this task.
No, nothing is necessary. I'm just doing my part.
All right. Let's go find out when the next shipment is and get it all situated.
I will say this to you. If you're willing to spend one resource, I will give you the trait generous for the house.
Ooh, I'm gonna leave that to the. I'm thinking it's good, but I will leave it to our head.
Daniel has told you that he approves of this project you want to do, which means its success and failure, any consequences derived from that, are also on you.
What does generous do?
So basically, these traits mechanically don't do anything, but it's basically how do people perceive your house. Right now, you said you're like impartial and you're like poor. So people, when they think of your house, are like, okay, so this guy's kind of like neutral. But they're also like dirt poor.
Yeah. All right.
So that refers not just to how the commoners view you, but also other nobles, other like chome agents, basically everyone. And these like reputations are kind of fluid based on your actions as a collective.
I want to spend that resource because it would entice other people who we want to think we're generous and willing to work with them and that they could make a better profit for our criminal contacts.
I think mechanically there's also like a way to leverage traits somewhere. But so I think there's also like you can invoke a trait and get like some benefits. But yeah, basically it would cost you. You have 3 resources, by the way, so you would be spending 1.
I'm willing to spend that 1.
Done.
Reputation is everything.
You will redirect as kind of like the latest shipment of actually give me a second. I'm just reading the mechanics. So if you spend 1 momentum, you can apply a house trait to yourself for a scene. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, you redirect the shipment of not just grains, but basically like I would assume food is what you're referring to mostly.
Yeah. I just kind of use grain as like an overall like just quantity, but yeah, foods, whatever it is that the houses is or that the house usually provides. Actually, that's a good question. Grunt, like this place was like destitute before we got here, right?
Yeah, it was pretty much kind of like a dying town.
So their living standards are better that we're here.
I mean, yeah, you're like bringing everybody some money in already, because you also spend your money on like being like the populace accept you, because you spend like 10 wealth, so you're already like investing into the local infrastructures. Like the people don't hate you.
All right. Well, let's see if we can, like story wise, see what we can do here. All right, then I will go to where the unloading station and get the food unpacked and ready for distribution.
Yeah, you spread across the locals from anything from like vegetables to canned food to maybe even other sort of supplies. They're basically just covering basic needs, clothing, tools, maybe just materials that you kind of like need to maybe repair your own house, provide a
Mm.
better standard of living. You are basically
Yep.
sharing some of your own kind of like stockpiled with the locals, which definitely will earn you a lot of praise in the locals, and as I'm sure Dennis will make sure that uh, news outlets will report on this up and coming house that is of the people, and they are so generous that they see that the needy need to be taken care of, and you have very little, but even that you are willing to share. As such, there is a certain kind of like reputation that gets spread across the planet of you being very generous.
That's great. Yeah, he'll like while he's there, he just wheels deals, talk about the populace, sees what they need in the future, see what they need ordered, and just basically is he doesn't even go in like royal clothes. He goes like in pretty upper class but still commoner clothes, and is just very friendly, nice, and all around just kind of gets like the lay of the land and sees what the people need.
Um, Give me an understand roll.
All right, I'm their lord, so it would be
It
understand
could even be
and
communicate if you want, because you can like talk depending on how
oh,
you approached it.
it would be like we'd give like the people of and I'm blanking on the name. Hear me, I am here to help and benefit you, the people. I am here to answer questions and here to see what the people need in this new era that we are building together as one city that will outshine the stars themselves. And then he'll just sit and like listen to these people's talk and like what they need and how they think that the city can be improved.
Yeah, so either communicate or understand work for this
All
as
right. Would
skills.
you consider that persuasion or inspiration?
It's definitely more of a. Uh, it's more persuasion because like nobody believes you.
Okay.
Okay. Um. Let me check something. Character.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let me see the actual city. Because yeah, they pretty much need everything. Um, I would say the most urgent of their problems is the general lack of like disrepair. There's like so many dead districts and dead areas which have fallen into absolute ruin, and well, some of them are like dangerously close to collapsing. Some of them are like home to animals. Some house like either like homeless people, like drug addicts. There's like a criminal element in the city, and not the one you would like to be.
He sits and listens to everybody speak. He
No,
rates
this is
them.
yeah.
He
This
gives
is it's not like a. It's not gonna be like a public speech. This is more like
no,
you
but
going about and talking to people on the street and like doing the door
uh,
to door kind of thing. Because
mhm,
if you like held a public rally, nobody would show up.
that's fair. They don't have hope that their people can be fixed by us. So yeah, it's fine. Door to door, like delivers food, shakes hands, asks questions, leaves.
Exactly.
All right. All right. Wait. With that, I think I have enough information and enough good PR here that I can head back to the house.
About like a week later, I guess.
He'll have written a report and put it on Daniel's desk for him to bruise and see what needs to be done and any recommendations Scott thinks can be done.
Yeah. Daniel will look into it, and well, he conclusion he comes to is the same regardless. Going to need more income to do anything about any of this. What house was it that real quick? What house was it that we were told had need of a house that could ship things for them?
House Kiz, if you're talking about the guys that produce weapons.
House Kids. I'll write that down now.
Yeah, the one with the two blades on the banner.
All right. Daniel would have basically drafting basically just a letter to send. It has the honorifics, but like underneath the honorifics, it is just a much more straightforward, basically discussion of a potential business proposal for them, which is using the transportation and shipping arrangements of House Aurelius to assist in the transport of their goods, their weapons, other things they produce.
Yeah, they would agree to a business meeting. Would you want to go to their place, or do you want to invite them to yours?
Daniel would go to them because that's it would be a sign of confidence to go to their place to do the negotiations.
Yeah. So but you should give me a communicate roll. See how this would work. Say difficulty 2.
All right, communicate. Uh, it's not the best combination, but I'm actually gonna select truth for this because Daniel is in actually approaching this in the sense that he does want this to
You can
work for the both.
always buy like one threat to just add one dice.
Yep, that is what I am in fact doing.
Okay.
So, yep. Oof, only one success and there's a complication.
Well, how about you assist him, Mr. Scott?
Yep, I will assist him. What do I need to roll to assist here? Should I just also roll communicate?
Just yeah, so you have to roll like understanding, and if you succeed in assisting, then he can re-roll the D20.
So just understanding?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with like whatever drive you want. You always get to choose the drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say you get to reroll one of those D20s, which I assume you're gonna reroll the big one.
Yes, I will. And that's a 2, which
Oh,
means it's
nice.
also a crit focus. So 3 successes then, right?
So yeah, yeah, that's true because you're, yeah. So it's 3 successes. That means you gain 1 momentum. Um,
I just kind of assumed that I could use negotiation for this because this is literally a negotiation.
yeah. Um, well, I mean, this is why you have Scott to help you rephrase certain
Yeah,
things.
in my opinion, it's probably Daniel went too hard, ruffled some feathers. Scott came in, played the please forgive my overbearing uncle. He was a merchant before this.
It's more
What
the
I see
fact
is
that,
him writing something,
yeah,
and then Scott just crossing out certain things and rewriting it a little better.
yeah, the rephrasing the sentencing to be more less aggressive, basically, and much more friendly, less business minded, and more seem like an actual invitation than a very like mercantile business proposition. So
You can tell. Scott can tell that there is Daniel is uh, just a tiny bit upset at how many adjustments are being made, but when he sees how it plays out with now that it's 3 successes, begrudgingly tell you good job. You did good.
yes, you would like wait for a couple of days before the reply is received, and just a couple of days, just that attitude of you should have just let me, like, why did you have to modify it so much? Now, like, look at this. It's not gonna get the point across, and but
You made me sound weak. You made me sound weak.
Just trust me. Just trust you. You sent me to those schools to learn how to lead and communicate. Trust that I know this. It's okay. I'm gonna have to make these type of things eventually. Why not now?
eventually the reply does come back, and they agree and sound rather eager. Seem
See, reading the note. In fact, Daniel probably reads it without letting Scott read it at first, and then, good job, boy. And then he'll hand it to Scott so he can read it as well.
All right.
The ruler of the house is Lady Nimet Kiz, and she is more than delighted to have you as guests and discuss potential fruitful partnership.
Awesome.
So as you prepare, you'll take your personal shuttle, as the trip will be, well, not that long, and maybe you can get accustomed to these luxuries of nobility, even in your rather poor state. This is something that most people don't really get to experience. As you will be taken to their city, which is also more of an industrious town. As you do know that their specialty is in the producing of like small armament, personal weapons, blades, knives, of all kind of like size and shapes. And in fact, they have like a signature weapon they are trying to kind of like get onto the market and make it kind of like catch on. They're trying to like kind of like distinguish. This Daniel is mostly from what you're able to like deduce and kind of like analyze from like what's the word, over the top, not over the top, like overhead perspective, like a bird's eye view. So well, they're not well established. They don't have the connections you have. So this could be a very, very fruitful partnership if it works out. But in any case, As your shuttle lands, there is this detachment of guards that is ready to greet you. Now the question is, I know you don't really have you have no guards. I assume you just came as just the two of you because you have no bodyguards. You barely have enough house guards to like station around your home in the city.
Honestly, yeah, just the two of us.
We're coming as friends. We don't really need guards.
The huge sign of trust.
Yep.
As the shuttle like lands, the soft thud and the door kind of like hisses as it kind of like springs open. You see the kind of like a set of 8 guards, and you see in fact sort of advisor, as by the looks of him, that will greet you as he waits for you to come down from the landing platform.
Yeah. Daniel goes down, probably consciously remembering to change the way he walks into a more regal one and not the walk he's normally accustomed to, which is incredibly kind of almost low to the ground, skittish a bit.
Scott's very relaxed. He has his hand on the blade, but it's more of precaution than like actual threatening. And he'll just walk normal.
The man that's kind of like standing in front of the guards, kind of like bows like slightly and politely towards the two of you and says, "My lords, I greet you in the name of House Kiz. Welcome. We shall escort you to her ladyship. If you would please follow me."
Lead on.
And they will escort you throughout the landing area and towards like sort of land vehicle as they will drive you through the city, eventually reaching her residency as you will be taken inside. I'm not sure how nosy you would be, how observant of surroundings you'll try to.
Scott has the watchful trait, so he'll while Daniel's being the ruler, Scott's doubling as bodyguard and keeping an eye out for everything.
Yeah, it's not less of trying to like see enemies and more like, hey, I'm watching at the city's layout, their infrastructure, how clean the streets are, how like proper the buildings are maintained, how many guards there are, how well equipped the guards are, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, then still he'll be keeping an eye out and looking at stuff and how we can improve our city.
Feel free to give me an understand roll.
Okay.
Say like a difficulty of 2.
Okay. I don't think that's worth a threat.
Yeah. The thing is that from the vehicle, it's kind of hard to glean too much insight. At the very least, they seem comparable in power to you. There is no overt display of wealth or superiority that like garner attention. The city is a bit more clean and definitely in a much better state than yours, but that's not saying that much. So, as you get to the noble estate, you are escorted inside to a rather kind of like dining area where you would recognize her ladyship eating, kind of like not eating, but like sitting at a table waiting for the two of you. As she sees you enter, she gets up, smiles, and says, I'm glad you made it. Hope your trip was safe and uneventful.
The trip was no trouble at all, especially with your gracious advisor to assist us on the way here.
Is only courteous. Please have a seat. We shall eat, drink, and discuss. As she invites you both to have a seat at the table.
Daniel will take his seat.
He'll wait for Daniel to take a seat, then look around, and then take a seat himself.
Well, there's like a couple of guards. They're kind of like at the edges of the room.
Yeah, just kind of keeping an eye, making sure, just making sure where all the exits are, just doing
I
his
will
job.
also remind you that everyone just always have shields on them.
Yeah, no, it's more just like if he's cautious. He's cautious. This is just strange for him.
Eventually, there will be like two servants that come in with plates of not like a feast, but these are like kind of like snack. I don't know if there's a word.
Appetizers.
Yes, that's the word. Thank you. To kind of like eat, and they also bring in some drink, some wine, and they'll take their leave. Make sure your glasses are filled before they do so. Says, well, let me be the first to welcome you on the stage of our little old planet here. We'll see. Are you from here, or did you move when you were granted the titles?
I'm not a native of the world, but I was a trader, so I moved very often. My nephew.
See then, you must have seen plenty of wondrous places across the universe.
Well, I've had my share of sights. And Daniel would probably tell of one of them. Basically, just one of the probably more beautiful planets he's seen in his career.
Hmm. She seems to listen with a certain amount of intent and interest.
Can I do some physical empathy and see what her body language is giving away?
Sure, you can give me an understanding. Say, I would say it's a count roll. That's what I would. It's gonna roll.
Oh shit.
One success. So yeah, as he's like telling this story, she is interested, but it's mostly out of like politeness and courtesy. This is what you would call going through the motions. So it doesn't seem like you're just, hey, okay, let's just talk business, lady. Like, how much can I sell you? How much do you want me to like take off of you? Like, let's talk tariffs.
I'll say with that role, you can tell that's the same thing with Daniel too.
Yeah, it's like, all right, Scott just relaxes a little bit. Oh my god, these two are the same.
Yeah, after telling that, Daniel would pivot a bit, and so I'll admit I am still relatively new to the world, and while I've done my research, tell me, it's your house's ability to produce weapons. Is that a cultural trait, or is that simply a matter of economics?
No, I would. I pride myself with our product. It's well, we started out with the usual knives and blades, but in this market, you have to try to distinguish yourself a bit more. As such, we have produced our very, I would rather say at this point, iconic curved blade. As well, it's not a design I have often seen, and it well, I am trying to get it to be more popular on the market. Many people nowadays don't appreciate the aesthetics as much they once did, but maybe with proper support, we can become a bit more relevant.
Every product has an audience. It's just a matter of finding it. Could I see an example of one of these blades?
She nods and gestures for one of the guards as he approaches and will unsheath his blade. And
And you will examine it.
yeah, so as you kind of like look at the blade, you can see it's indeed kind of like curves at the end, sort of very like reminiscent to like a sort of scimitar, like a. It's a very interesting design because a lot of the blades that kind of like people use. I don't know if this is canon to Dune or not, but I've been reading too much about Dune lore, anyways. So most weapons that get used in melee tend to be much more of the stabbing kind of variety. So that means rather straight, thin, and well, either like knives or even like the blades they have. Any kind of like deviation from that tends to be rather unique, and this one is looks like, as you can imagine, a cutting weapon, which is not optimized, honestly, for the sort of fighting when you consider like shields being involved, as it's harder to get the blade through the shield and then like slice with it and cut. So the blade itself, combat wise, probably not a very good weapon.
All right. I have a question about the because I know nobles are constantly equipped with shields. How ubiquitous are shields for the other stratas of society?
Not as much. Like they're still kind of expensive to get. So
So,
your average Joe Schmo on the street wouldn't have a shield.
what about soldiers?
Soldiers would be given shields by their houses. Like all your
So
guards have shields as well.
So what I'm hearing is there is a market for these type of swords, but one a special reach would have to get involved with.
There is a market. It depends. You can give me. I'll say you can give me like an understand roll maybe. Try and like think where you could like possibly be able to sell these blades better. I'll say like a difficulty of 2. And you also have 1 momentum if you want to spend it.
Let's see. I imagine would the focus of smugglers help at all with this?
Actually, yeah, but not for the reasons you're thinking.
Understood.
It's actually kind of funny.
Doo-doo-doo.
Are you gonna use the momentum?
Yeah, I think I will. This might be This might be useful.
Oh, there we
3
go.
successes.
So you get it right back.
This is what success looks like. Back, take notes.
So
Ouch.
as you think about it, so yeah, maybe selling these weapons to like commoners would be one way to approach it, but average person probably not gonna be able to pay that much, and the guard is clearly like carrying a very ornate, even if it's not like ornate to the point of like decorative, it's clearly like well crafted. There's a certain amount of detail that goes into manufacturing this piece of weaponry that's not like replicated, that like clearly indicates a lot of effort, which might put it up. You might have to maybe simplify the design a bit to lower the price so you can sell it to commoners. But here's an interesting aspect. You know, due to your smuggling operations, there's one place in the universe which doesn't really care about shields, and in fact, cutting weapons might be very, very useful there. It's a little old known planet by the name of Arrakis, where shields are a big no-no. So maybe sell it to people there, because they might appreciate the different design and ability to cut better. Other than that, you might be able to pair this sword with a particular fighting style. You might be able to find some, if you like go, like there's like 2 extremes. You can simplify the design and sell it to like commoners, or like go the other way and just make it very stylized and sell it to like experts and people who do this like recreationally, like nobles, swordsmen, and that sort of crowd, or like both, right? Or sell them to people that work in and around Dune who can't use shields, so they don't really care.
Right, all right. Yeah, examining the blade. It is a unique design. I can see the appeal. And as the old can look back at the lady, there's a few things that could help with it that I believe could help with the reach of this, help with the sword to reach its potential audience.
We can produce them. We can produce them reliably and efficiently. We just need people to help us, well, get them into the right hands. Because right now, it's our major blockage.
Well, there's modifications that could be made to the design, but as they are now, there is a planet that would certainly make good use of these blades. Arrakis. You don't use shields.
She looks a bit surprised. Says, of course they don't have shields there, do they? That's true. I don't.
As snow shields, its local environment doesn't allow their use, from what I've heard.
Never considered it.
Yes, and with Arrakis, modifications would not have to be made to the blade. We could sell them as is right now, and issue is just getting them there, but I needs.
Well, do you perhaps have connections with the blanking out the spacing guild?
Question: would the smugglers have any connections with this? With some,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Just want to make sure. I don't want to say something and then have Grunt say,
yeah.
"No, idiot."
No, you would have. You cannot travel around the universe without their assistance. Basically,
Yeah,
impossible.
I just don't want to overstate the connections that are there.
Yeah, no, definitely you would have some.
So I do have my contacts. I'd be a poor trader that can't travel to the world. So you have my nephew. He's currently going through a tunnel.
Fine, I have dealt with it. I have forever silenced him. She nods, smiles, and says, "It's a true, very very useful thing to have." Then I do see the potential, well, increase in benefits for both you and myself in this deal.
Shall we discuss the particulars of the deal then?
Why not? She'll again gesture for one of the servants, kind of like bring you a, and I like lay out a rather large scroll with figures, and kind of like you can see the numbers for like different production values and quotas they have, and some like quarterly reports. And yeah, you can basically make a, basically it's gonna improve, it's gonna give you a stable source of income if you manage to get these weapons into the hands of people that travel to Arrakis and back and like work specifically there. And it's gonna increase their profits as well. So everyone stands to gain if you manage to pull this through.
If we manage to pull it through, which I see now, I will get through any obstacle.
I think like your main obstacle would be market competition, because you're like not the only one selling weapons to these people. But that will probably just come down to a couple of roles, more or less, at least for now. Like once you start taking over more and more of the market, there might be other interested parties that will start hiking up prices. So maybe trying to preempt this by getting a much more like permanent ally to help with transportation, or maybe a chome agent that would make sure that customs treats you favorably, or both.
I do have some of the intangible assets that I picked, which I don't fully understand what the assets were, so I'm kind of just shooting it here. I do have the supply contract thing. which I imagine was an actual guy I knew to ensure that my business went smoothly.
So the idea with assets, they're like basically things that are either tangible like a blade or intangible like a, I would say honestly, I think like an individual is a tangible thing.
That'd
But
be
that
tangible, all right.
but that sounds kind of bad when you say it. But I would think of something like intangible as access to like information, a connection route.
Put a thing on it, like my smuggler contacts are intangible because that's not a specific
Yeah,
person. That's just the people Daniel has met during his
exactly.
career. The
Exactly.
supply contract is tangible because that's a specific guy
Yes.
Daniel has a business relationship with.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. So yeah. If you have like the assets, then yeah, that's pretty much yep. Like you can leverage those assets to ensure that nobody will like screw with you. So I would say you pretty much have this in the bag.
Yeah, sounds good.
So yeah, after like looking over the numbers and discussing a few deals and kind of like what quotas would need to be filled and kind of like profit margins are we like looking at, you eventually you can give me a role if you want. It could be like either communicate or understand or even discipline if you want to just like lead her by the nose. And I think Scott can assist if he wants.
I'll use communicate. Combine it with power. Can I apply my focus to it? Negotiation.
Yes.
What is the difficulty?
I am gonna be a bit of an asshole and spend some threat and say it's gonna be 3.
See? All right. I'll spend 1 point of the motivation to increase my dice pool to 3. We generate a point of termination at the start of the session, right?
Yes, if the statement
Right.
fills it. You also
And
have 1 momentum, so you can increase the dice pool by 1 if you want.
yep, I am doing that to increase the dice pool to 3. And I'm using power, and my statement is power's justification in of itself. So clicking the determination, using it. 5 successes.
Jesus fucking Christ. That's 2 momentum back. So yeah,
This is what success looks like.
yeah, Jesus, no, yeah, you basically gain literally whatever you want. Favorable deals. She kind of like tries to drive a bit of a hard bargain, but for you, Daniel, this is like child's play. You've dealt with these people before. She is much younger than you, so she's less experienced with trading. So you are easily able to kind of like lead her by the nose and just
There's nothing like exercising experience over the youth.
So yeah, you have yourself a very lucrative long-term contract, which will provide you with the goods you need to distribute, gain you a very, very much more profitable than expected outcome. So I'm just gonna give you 2 wealth right now, on top of whatever you had before. So. So I will say like the business dealings can like take a couple of hours. After which you would all kind of like retire to your personal quarters that she would provide you with. If there's any last conversation you would like to have.
Again, I'm writing things down. I'm becoming red. I'm not nearly as good as Red, though. I have not, in fact, written every sentence of this session down yet.
No, not yet. But we're getting there.
We'll never be able to be that good.
But yeah. The final. So, any final words? Uh, you know, Daniel. Daniel takes the victory in good sport. Uh, telling her that hopes that this is only the start of a mutually beneficial relationship, setting the road down for perhaps further business down the road, and that uh, both of our houses hopefully benefit from it just the same. Which that is Daniel being a bit of a prick.
Yeah, I mean, no. My question is, would you like have a chat with Scott after the?
Oh
Because
yes,
you
most
pretty
definitely him
much,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, you did good. You did good, boy.
Thank you, my lord.
Yes. Now, I'll have a proper debriefing. It's respectful to have it in her house, but when we get back, we're going to have a proper debriefing on how the negotiations went.
Yes, sir.
Good. Expect you to tell me the exact mistakes she made and how you will not make them when it's you in charge of head negotiations.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Besides that, it's not no other further conversations. At least not being held here at her
Yeah.
house.
Well, and with that, the next day you would depart, richer, and I would presume rather happy with the outcome.
Oh, Daniel has every reason to be happy. The house is wealthier. He got the chance to show off his expertise in his field, and Scott is increasingly proving that he is actually competent, which is great because the rest of the nieces and nephews are not great. There's a reason they're not here.
It's true. What is the next part of your agenda?
Unless Tick or no, Scott has anything they want to pursue. Arranging a meeting with some of the local Camille element would be Daniel's next idea. They have more money. They have stuff to throw around if they need to now.
No, I don't have anything at the moment.
I'll say you also have the find trouble talent, so yeah,
Yep.
you can easily get in contact with them. So you organize rather impromptu meeting. Anyone specific you're looking for, or this is like a bunch of like
Um,
small time gangs and like some drug dealers, some thugs, like
I'd say in this case, because he's already relying on his smuggler contacts, I'd say in this case I would say it's the whoever's the head of the strongest band of thugs that's actually in my city.
yeah. Um, you you would organize a meeting with them. And you have to like go down to their headquarters, quote unquote, which is basically one of the abandoned warehouses. I would presume that this is where you would actually bring maybe some of your guards or Havelock himself.
Some of the guards, yeah, some of the guards. Havelock is there with me.
Bring along Scott as well.
Yeah. Yep, bring along Scott. The show of strength for these guys is not coming unarmed. The show of strength is coming armed to these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you easily manage to set up a meeting with them. And as you present yourself there, it's you three and half the household guards, which means 6 people. As you arrive, you kind of like make your way through the city as you kind of like get to the really bad parts, or buildings are literally falling apart, rust and just an absolute state of decay has taken over. The concrete, the walls, nature is starting to like kind of like reclaim back. There's cracks in the asphalt, and plants are growing out of every nook and cranny. As you make your way, push inside the warehouse itself, the Havelock kind of like pushes this large metal door as it kind of like creaks heavily, as it kind of slides off to the side. And once you can like see inside, the half of the roof is missing, but thankfully that lets a lot of the light to kind of like flow in, illuminating the place decently, as you see several armed thugs just kind of like lounging about, as the one who is obviously their leader and like takes a central position and approaches your group as you are also walking towards them. As this man kind of just, he sees you, there's like a moment where he like draws in the mucus and just kind of like hurls a large glob of spit off to the side, and then just kind of like stares at you.
All right. Yeah. Daniel, just say, gentlemen, I won't waste your time. I'm sure we all have more important things to do. I'll make it clear.
I hear you're the new boss in town, so I assume you're here to make some sort of deal.
That I am, gentlemen. I am new steward of this city. Before I was steward, though, I was a captain. Captain of trade lines, trade networks. That's some legal work. Now that I'm here, I'm bringing my operations to this city, to this world. And what I want to discuss with you, gentlemen, is your incorporation into this network.
Listen, man, just tell me what you need and how much you can pay me, cause I hear words, but I don't see money.
Using 1 dot of the wealth. How equivalent is like actually like 1 dot of wealth worth? Like,
I'm not gonna even get into the mathematics of that. So,
I'm not asking for mathematics. Like, would 1 dot of wealth actually impress these guys?
oh yeah, like
Yeah.
it like fucking blow their minds. Like 1 dot
Yeah.
of
No.
so just to give you like a comparison for the other group, 1 dot of wealth allowed the household to fake being not poor for a like gathering, right? So for like the entire event duration, like 1 wealth is a lot of money.
Yeah. No. No. Dan, and I have on authority that these guys are the more or less
Yeah,
the leaders of the criminal underworld in my city.
yeah. There's like they're like numerous, and you can see they're all like big boys.
Yeah. Daniel. Well, I will spend one of that. I will cash in one of those wealth points, and just have it in some means I could give it to them. Possibly as just gifts or the like, something that would still be of value to them. Forgive me, yes. I am possibly a poor host. But I do have gifts. And give them insert thing here, because I'm a little tired and I can't think of something exact to give them, but it'd be the equivalent of like 1
Yeah.
wealth.
You just like roll in the like coffers of money. Like, here's a bunch of credits.
Probably not. Like, some of it's probably in credits, but other of it's in like forms that could be easily exchanged for credits. Something that's like easier, like, because a whole bucket load of credits is a bit hard to move around.
Yeah. Like liquid, basically. Liquid cash.
Yeah, liquid wealth. I've already made quite a bit of money in this nascent operation I'm performing here. More money than I'm sure any of you have seen in your lives. There will be more money. What I need is muscle. I have men who can navigate. I have men who can speak. I have men who can acquire. What I need is men who can ensure that my operations are protected. Consider it a retainer.
He nods. He kind of like looks at the valuable cargo you have brought. Like lets out a loud whistle at the rest of it and says, now that I understand. Yeah. Me and my boys can break legs, can make sure nobody messes with your people, your goods. I think I'm liking you already, boss. Keep up the pay and we'll keep doing the good work.
Of course. In exchange for the services provided, the wealth will keep coming. And if I find the work is especially admirable, there may be bonuses involved.
Nods. He seems very, very happy at this. Curious to see if I can like yeah. So yeah, no. He kind of like extends his hand for a handshake. See the kind of like the grime on it. They are not the hands of a clean man, but it is what it is.
Luckily, Daniel's not. I mean, luckily, Daniel's metaphorically not a clean man himself.
Yeah, he'll give you. He's like very big, so his hand kind of covers yours, but he will shake your hand enthusiastically. Very happy.
What's your name? I prefer to know the name of the men I do business with.
Call me Desmond. Found my weakness. Namings. Yeah, it's
I know. I know I could derail the entire session by asking for a name.
says but people here just call me Brick. You can do so as well. Or in that right, that's like gestures to one of the large crates.
Brick. All right. For now, continue the business as you have been. When I have need of your men, I'll inform you. Until then, as I said, consider you and your men on retainer. You'll be getting paid regularly.
Like the sound of that, boss. Think you'll be impressed with what you can do.
Oh, I hope I am impressed. I don't like bad investments. And yeah,
He just
there's
kind of,
no
yeah.
other real flourish or
Um,
anything.
yeah, because I'm thinking, how should I think so? Say this. If you're willing, so you already spent one wealth. If you're willing to give me two more, I will basically give you the equivalent of like the level 1 military power, like the militia.
So by that, you mean a total of 3 wealth, right?
Yeah, it will be a total of 3 wealth, so 2 less than what it would normally cost you. But this will be quote unquote militia in the sense that these are not your official guards, but they will guard your city and make sure that nobody really messes with you. Or if they try to mess with you, you have like an actual fighting force ready. It's just that they're not soldiers, they are basically criminals and thugs. This is why they're cheaper.
I'll take that deal. Actually, yeah, I'll take it.
Perfect. So, well, you got yourself a militia. Now, you have officially, I would say, brought order into the city. As these guys will make sure that nobody really messes or like causes any sort of trouble. Like they can,
Actual kleptocracy. The criminals are the government.
they can like literally defend the city if you're like under attack. Like it's hilarious. You have already achieved. You have already have more military power than the other house. So yeah,
This is what success looks like.
damn.
Can you borrow some of them? I mean, if you're willing to pay the retainer, I suppose. You have the money to do that, right?
Fine. Some of you negotiate, hustle, and convince people and buy them. Others just marry into power.
I'm channeling my inner Cletus, taking a lot of inspiration.
But yeah, no, this is suddenly you took a city that was on the kind of like brink of collapse, revitalized some of the critical infrastructure, brought the criminal element under your pay and your control, and well secured a lucrative trade deal with a member house.
It feels good. Feels good.
Also, you improved your reputation. People actually think you're generous. So like the locals tend to like love you. The criminals also work for it. Like, yeah, no, I'm actually impressed. This is such a smooth sailing experience.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's Daniel. There's nothing really else to say to Brick. There's no clearances needed. Daniel's more in his element negotiating with people like Brick, anyways. Yeah. Daniel is going to, pretty much as they're leaving, turn to Scott. Don't forget, boy, where we came from. It's a whole world underneath the eyes most people in Ivory Towers never get to see. They never want to see. There's a whole world down there that can give you a lot if you're willing to deal with it. And deal with it in the way it's accustomed to.
Like, you're muted if you're talking. No. Scott's just deposing.
I guess you're running a game for one, Grunt.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, no, I think probably gonna end it a bit early then.
Yeah, no, with this total success of everything we sought to achieve this session.
Yeah.
God,
Unironically.
God fucking damn it, man. The people love you. The criminals love you.
Ending the session with 2 momentum, only 1 threat generated. Damn.
It